Hello, today on Fedora Workstation 41 we are going to install multimedia codecs. That means audio and video decoding and playback in your video playing applications. I have downloaded two test videos. I've searched on Google for Big Buck Bunny H.264 and H.265, and these are the downloaded files. Let's see if we can play back them. So I have installed Fedora Workstation 41. I have kept all of the default settings. I didn't change absolutely anything. It's using BTRFS. And when it asked if I want support for additional repositories, multimedia support, I checked that. So I have enabled that. Let's see first H.264. I double click on the file and says unable to play the file because it might know the H.264 video codec, but maybe it doesn't know all of the profiles of H.264. Let's see what application is this one. How do we find out? It's GNOME Videos. I'm not sure what this application is. Okay, so let's install additional graphical user interface video players. Let's use the command line for that. Let's make sure we're up to date. Let's actually look at the repositories that we have enabled by default. It listed them, but then it removed the output. Okay, so it says that many packages have updates, and I'm going to actually install all of these such that I'm up to date. Is this okay? Yes. So this is going to take a while. It's going to install a new Linux kernel version, and it will require a reboot. So we'll be back once I install all of the packages and I reboot the system. I have just installed all of the possible updates with the command line dnf update. And now the two MP4 files have a different icon, and playback just started working for the H.264 version of the Big Buck Bunny. And the video player is probably the GNOME application Totem. Let's see the properties. So says it's MP4 container, H.264 video, and there's no audio codec there. Let's try our luck with the H.265, not 264 version. This one does not work. Next up, we'll install more graphical user interface video player applications. So we have GNOME Totem. Let's try env install VLC and smplayer. And smplayer will install the command line player MPV. Let's see what it proposes. So smplayer and VLC, ASCII art library, fonts, X libraries, CD, DVB, Matroska container, the MPV video player, some Qt 5 modules for VLC probably, VLC split RPM packages, YouTube downloader application, command line application written in Python, YT-DLP, and doesn't say anything about FFmpeg or libVLC. Okay, let's accept this. And let's see, can we play this H.264 file with VLC? We can. Can we play it with MPV, the command line application? Can. Can we play it with smplayer? Yes, it works. Next up, H.265, VLC. No, hevc codec, which is H.265, is not supported. MPV. It probably exited immediately and we didn't see anything. smplayer. And we have the error log. Failed to initialize decoder for video codec hevc, which is H.265. Okay, at this point, we want to install full audio-video codec support from the community RPM Fusion. Okay, so RPM Fusion is a list of additional software repositories where RPMs are available for the Fedora Linux operating system versions, such as version 41, 40, etc. And for other Linux operating systems in the family Fedora Linux, Red Hat, Enterprise Linux, and the free clones of RHEL. This is the website. So previously there used to be this repository Livna and then fresh RPMs dribble. These three got merged into RPM Fusion. Let's see how we can install RPM Fusion on my system. We have instructions for Fedora 41. The pre-clones for RHEL. we're going to use the command line. And the instructions use RPM minus E % Fedora. Let's see what this command line does. So it says 41. So this is instructions which work correctly both on Fedora 41 and on Fedora 40. It has added to RPM binary package repositories, RPM Fusion free and RPM Fusion non-free. Okay, let's see what other instructions do we have. DNF config manager setup Fedora Cisco open H.264 enabled. This should be all. Hopefully this is the only instruction that we actually need to run from the command line in order to enable the RPM Fusion additional RPM packages repositories. Okay, let's look at the list of packages. There's free and non-free. I'm not sure how to read these things. The list of packages available. Okay, let's try to find the FFmpeg. DNF search FFmpeg. It's downloading the metadata, which is the list of RPM packages that are available in each of the enabled repositories. So there's FFmpeg and FFmpeg free, this one. And then I can also see FFmpeg thumbnailer. So let's install these two packages, FFmpeg thumbnailer and FFmpeg. So DNF install FFmpeg and this thing. Okay, so there's a list of RPM packages which are available from RPM Fusion and a list of packages that are available from the official Fedora RPM repositories. They're similar packages with similar functionality, but with different package name, which is very fortunate. So what we want to do is to not have the packages with -free in the name from the official Fedora 41 repositories. Instead, we want the FFmpeg without -free RPM package from RPM Fusion. So there's these two different sets of RPM packages that provide the same files on the file system. For instance, I don't know, /usr/lib, and then the FFmpeg libraries and the extension SO. So we actually want this additional parameter. Let's place it, for instance, in here. So DNF install ---- allow erasing, and then to RPM package names, ffmpeg thumbnailer. It will remove RPM packages with names ending in -3, which come from Fedora. It says in here it comes from the installation media, which is Anaconda, the graphical user interface installer wizard, which allowed me to install the Fedora Workstation 41 operating system. And then it's going to install ffmpeg from RPM Fusion -3 RPM repository and their dependencies. And we can also see the X264 and X265 libraries, also from RPM Fusion -3. So this is okay. It's importing a PGP key, 19 RPM packages to install. And let's try our luck now. Double click. Totem still cannot play back. Let's see MPV. MPV started working. SM player. SM player also works. And VLC media player. Also works. I'm not sure how you can fix Totem to use the correct ffmpeg library. Maybe Totem is using GStreamer, but I don't use Totem, so I would switch the default video playback graphical user interface application to SM player, or you can switch to VLC like this. Okay. This should be about it. There's a complete ffmpeg library installed on the system, which means all of the possible audio and video encoders and decoders for all of the applications which use ffmpeg. So this is it. This is what fixes my issue when I install Fedora. I want to play back multimedia, audio and video files, and my preferred video player is SM player, and I use it like this. SM player, and then I don't like these extra buttons, so I go video, compact mode, Ctrl+C. And for the controls, I use keyboard shortcut similar to the mPlayer and MPV command line players. The arrow keys for scrolling through the video, 0 and 9 for volume, F for full screen, and space for pause play. This is it. This is how you install a complete ffmpeg library from the additional RPM repository RPM Fusion for Fedora 41 workstation. Thank you. So the GNOME application Totem indeed does use GStreamer, not ffmpeg. And I have made the GNOME Totem application be able to open H.265 files. Here is the proof. And how I did it was I have listed all of the packages from the repository. It's called RPM Fusion -3. There's a ton of RPM packages here. You can find out the ID of the repository using the command line dnf repo list. There's two columns in here. Repo ID is the first column and repo name is the second column. Most of the RPM packages that we're interested in, which is audio video codecs, which cannot be redistributed by Fedora Linux but can be redistributed by RPM Fusion, are in this repository RPM Fusion -3. This is the ID. And I have listed all of the RPM packages which can be installed from this RPM repository RPM Fusion -3. There's a ton of them, and I only have shown using grep the RPM packages which contain GST in the name. So that could be GStreamer, GStreamer1, libgstreamer, GST minus something. And it only found two packages, which is GStreamer1 minus plugins minus bed minus freeworld, and GStreamer1 minus plugins minus ugly. And I have installed both of them. And that's it. A full GStreamer library is available installed on this computer right now. We have support for H.265 and we have seen that the default graphical user interface video player application in Fedora Workstation 41, which is called videos, which is GNOME Totem, can now open H.265 files correctly. Thank you.